Greetings everyone and welcome back to 365 Days of Prog. Today we're going to be reviewing Deep by the band Stickmen.
Hi, my name's Naomi. I'm an avid progressive rock fan, but I'm a long ways from knowing all the prog albums out there. But this year, I'm gonna give it a try. This is 365 Days of Prog.
Whoa there Naomi, you just forgot to record the favorite bit section? What's wrong with you? I'm so sorry about this mishap, really am. Here are some of my favorite bits from this album. So let me start off this review with a bit of a rant. I'm not gonna go off of any real script on here, I'm just gonna talk about a point that I had that relates in some way to the album that we're reviewing today. So you know how we have all those really great legends of the 70s who made progressive rock music like Pink Floyd, Yes, Gentle Giant, Genesis, whatever, and all of us would always say, like up until basically forever, that we would have loved to at least have like this one more album by this one band because we just want another classic album with their unique sound. And when it comes to most of these bands, well, we never really got any of that. We're never gonna get another Close to the Edge, we're never gonna get another Thick as a Brick. It's just the way that things are. And the same goes for another band which you might have heard of called King Crimson. Now, of course, King Crimson made their fair share of excellent music back in the 70s and in the 80s, and they've also continued to create music later on, but the thing is, we're never really gonna get more of primetime albums and songs that we always loved from them. But the thing with King Crimson is that I would beg to differ that unlike most bands, they have a lot of various spin-off bands, inspirations, stuff like that, that resulted in a way that if you love the Crimsonian sound, you're always gonna find at least one more album that's gonna fit your needs. And if you'd like to call it in another name, it's basically always finding another hidden gem of Crimson music. And on this list already, we have reviewed one of the spin-off groups that came from King Crimson themselves, of course having something to be related with the Crimson sound, and that was of course Blue Knights, which features both Bill Bruford on drums and Tony Levine on the Chapman stick and the bass, both of whom of course are part of a very timeless lineup of King Crimson. And the band we are reviewing today are called Stickmen, and they are indeed one of those various spin-off groups for King Crimson themselves. All of them have played at some point with the Crimson projects, thus relating them all to the original band themselves. Now, Stickmen are a group that was founded originally as a power trio consisting of Tony Levine on the Chapman stick, Michael Bernier on the Chapman stick and drums, and Pat Mazzolatto on the drums and various technological instruments. Thus, all of them using some sort of sticks, whether it be drumsticks or the Chapman sticks, had led to the creation of their name known as Stickmen. And of course, all of them are men, so that kind of explains the second part of that statement. Now, Michael Bernier was quickly replaced by Marcus Reuter, who stayed with the band up until basically today. Now, these guys started off in 2010 when they released their first album called Soup, and in the time span of 2 more years in 2011 and 2012 they released 3 more albums, with the last one of them being the album we are reviewing today called Deep. Now, these guys went into a slight hiatus up until 2016, in which in that year they released another album called Prog Noir, but but from then on we haven't heard anything else from them. Now another thing to quickly note about this band in particular, much like a lot of the other spin-offs from King Crimson, these guys create music which is profoundly based on being performed live. Thus the songs were written in a way that allows them to be performed live, not in a way that requires more players than there actually are, or various other tricks which are hard or even impossible to perform live on stage. Now knowing all this, we got a basic understanding of who Stickmen are, but now let's get into the meat of potatoes of what this album actually is. Well, in all honesty, it's pretty obvious, and I should note this, that this music on here is your typical Crimsonian hard prog. But the thing that makes it kinda less impressive than most of King Crimson's songs is that nothing on here really is that interesting or memorable. There are no certain sections on here which are just your average, what you might call a hook, which you really remember and really sticks with you. Most songs on here have this one basic idea and they just follow it kind of monotonously. It doesn't sound bad necessarily, and if you really like the Crimsonian sound, you're gonna love this type of thing, but in my personal opinion, there really wasn't enough variation, especially in the moods, to actually allow this album to really go anywhere. But with that being said, most of this album sounds as I just described, but there is some parts of it which are definitely quite different, and the certain parts are actually the two last tracks called Sepia and Whale Watch. I kind of pronounced it miscorrectly. It's not that it's like a whale watch that you put in your hand, it's whale watch, watching whales basically. Or not Wales the country, Wales the animal. Oh fuck. These two songs feature a longer runtime and a lot more mood changes, which is definitely what I really enjoyed about them. Now my personal favorite was Sepia. It is a really good song and it has a lot of things going for it. This song, immediately you can already see that it relies a lot more on the technological instruments being used on here. Now, I'm personally a person that usually advocates towards using the more acoustic side of things, and I don't really like, you know, synthesizers and technological instruments, if you might call them that, but this one just made excellent use of them, and it really does sound good, as well as of course staying very true to being able to also be performed in a live setting. This one also actually goes and has this long stretch of atmospherical music, very soundscapey, which has this nice build up going up and a very good payoff at the end. It is really a journey that you're just going through with this song. The same goes for Whale Watch, but I preferred Sepia quite more than that one. But yeah, all in all, this is a good album and definitely a very good album, especially if you like the Crimsonian sound from King Crimson themselves, and even the later sound really is captured on here as well. Now personally, I've never been a truly avid fan of King Crimson. I of course like their earlier works, but I kind of never really connected to their music on a very personal level. My personal favorite from them is Lark's Tongues and Aspic. I do think that their first album is great, but not without its flaws, so you can already tell that I am not an avid fan of King Crimson. Thus an album like this today was fun, was enjoyable, but not something that I see myself remembering for a long time from now. Nevertheless, I would highly advise you all to go ahead and listen to this one, and I'm sure that the rest of their discography is also quite good, because after all, it's a power trio of some of the three best progressive rock players that we know of today. Yeah, I really don't know, dude. It looks something like a cell or a microorganism, but I really can't tell what it is exactly. I really don't have a lot to say about this cover. I really like the way that it's made. It looks good, it really catches your eye, it pops out, it glows, it looks nice, it is aesthetic in every single way. Even the titles on here look very, very good, and the graphic design for them was expertly made, but overall, more than that, really not a cover that I have a lot to say about. Maybe it is supposed to represent something that lies deep in the body, thus it resolves the name deep in some way. I really don't know. So when it comes to the rating of this one gets a very understandable 7 out of 10. Again, it's nothing really new, but at the same time, it's really nothing bad. But that's about it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video and stay tuned for tomorrow because we're going to be listening to A Drop of Light by Old Traps on Earth. This one has a lot of similarities to Angleguard, so you might want to stick around and watch that next episode. I of course want to thank my lovely supporters over on Patreon, so thank you so much to Clay Wallum, Rist of Kings and Lindsay Haycox. You guys are the best, and if any of you want to support me over on Patreon, you can find the link down in the description or in my about page. But that's about it, guys. Have a wonderful day and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.